Today we are going to brew Brewer's Best English Brown Ale. It's their kit number 1016. So what's in it? Well, we've got liquid malt extract, we've got spray dried malt, we've got some crushed caramel grains and some crushed chocolate and crushed carapils, 6-ounce malt. And then of course we've got hops. Now what makes this kit a little bit different from some of the other ones is that there's actually 3 sets of hops. So you've got your bittering, you've got flavoring and aroma. And then of course we've got our yeast, and as I've mentioned before, I like to use the hops bags. I have 1 grain bag that was supplied with the kit, but I also have hops bags that I keep on hand just so I can keep my brew kettle as free of sediment as possible. So that's pretty much it. You also get an instruction sheet, and as I've mentioned many times, I like to convert that into an Excel format so that I can actually track the times. The things are due by formulas in there, but certainly not necessary. The instructions are real clear, and it's pretty straightforward. So anyway, let's get on with some brewing. The first step will be to put the steeping grains into 150 to 170 degree water for 20 minutes. Okay, we're at 150. So I'm going to drop these in, and remember, you're not supposed to go over 170 degrees. So it's 150, let's say 150 to 165 for 20 minutes. So all the grains are in the steeping bag, and we'll be back in 20. 20 minutes is up. So I'm going to remove the bag of steeping grains and just let it drain. And then the next step will be to bring this back to a boil and add all of our LME, our liquid malt extract, and all that spray dried malt. And that should probably take about, I'm going to guess, maybe 15 minutes to get up to a rolling boil after this. So we'll be back once the rolling boil starts. Okay, we're up to our gentle rolling boil, and we'll start to add in the liquid malt extract, and I'm going to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. This smells really, really good, I gotta tell you. All those different chocolatey grains. I have a feeling this is going to be a lot like the Scottish ale. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. It's got a lot of the same grains in it, and that's just a great beer. So got kind of high expectations for this one. Like to get as much out as possible by getting the hand down in there, and you can see I took the label off. It starts coming off when you preheat it, and if you don't get that off before you start working in here, you got a chance of paper getting in there. Now I'm trying something a little bit different with the dry malt extract this time. Instead of putting it in just dumping it directly in from the plastic bags, I'm going to try and do it like this. I can see I'm going to have to cut the heat just a bit with the container, because I always get a lot of it clumping because of the steam, and I'm thinking this might be a good alternative. And I can see it's clumping here on the plastic as well, but probably have a better chance of getting it off of the plastic cup than I do off the cellophane bag that it comes in. So we need to get this all stirred in. See, I think this is much easier to work with. A lot easier to get that in. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all this stirred in, and then we're going to come back. We're going to get it back up to a boil, and as soon as it comes to a boil, we'll be putting in the bittering hops, and then we'll go on a 45-minute boil. So back in a few. Okay, we got our rolling boil back, so let's go ahead and put in the bittering hops, and now we'll start on a 45-minute boil. So back after 45 minutes. Okay, we're 20 minutes away from being done with the boil, so let's go ahead and get the wort chiller in there. And again, I set it in rather gently because I've got a kettle screen in the bottom and I don't want that to get hurt. Now the whole purpose of putting it in at this point is to make sure that it gets sterilized by the time the boil is through. So that's about all there is to it. So we'll be back in probably about 20 minutes to throw in the next set of hops. Okay, it's time to add the flavoring hops, and this will be for a 10-minute boil, and then we'll be back to throw in the aroma hops. We're done with the 10-minute boil on the flavoring hops. Now we have a 5-minute boil with the aroma hops, and we'll be back in 5. Okay, our 5-minute boil is over with the aroma hops, so we're going to terminate the boil, and we're going to start the wort chiller. Okay, so we'll be back when we're ready to drop the wort down into the fermenting bucket. The wort temperature down to where we need it, so we're going to drop it into the bucket. And as soon as that's done dropping in, I'm going to get a hydrometer reading, and then we'll pitch the yeast. So back in a few. All right, that's it for brewing the English Brown Ale, Brewers Best. I got my hydrometer reading. It was a 1.048, which fell right into the range that the kit specifies. And I did a little something different with the yeast this time. I had been hydrating my yeast prior to maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 batches ago, where I noticed that the kit had really gone from saying to hydrate it to just throwing it over the wort. So, you know, I've noticed that a lot of the batches, when I go to move to the secondary, I see I guess unused yeast on top. So what I've decided to do is go ahead and hydrate this batch. And the interesting thing is, if you look on the back of the package, it basically says, you know, 86 to 92 degrees, put it in, stir it, and 15 minutes. But if you go out to their website and actually look at the instructions, what it says is put the yeast on top of the water between 86 and 92, and that's 4 ounces of water. Let it sit for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, stir it. Let it sit for 5. I'm telling you, that made a big difference in how active that yeast was when I went to pitch it into the wort. So I'm pretty excited about seeing what happens now and how this is going to turn out. So until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you next time. This has been a Matty Boy presentation. Say bye-bye, Matty. Bye-bye.